On May 8th, 2018, Fortnite and Marvel's crossover got 100 million views in a single week. 5 years later, and Fortnite has the most collaborations of all time, and it's had a long and complicated history. Join me as we explore all of it, the most insane accomplishment, how it was almost ruined, and what's making it the all-in-one video game. That vision needed to start with a bang, and Fortnite X Avengers delivered. You could play as Thanos for a limited time, and with Infinity War raking it in at the theaters, everyone was talking about it. These two behemoths sent the ultimate message to players. Fortnite was just beginning. The surprises kept coming, teaming up with the NFL 2 seasons later to bring your favorite teams to the game. But players were confused when they dropped on the island only for Wreck-It Ralph to say hi and then never appear again. Fortnite was taking risks, and while some didn't pay off, it was now the game's biggest year. They had to step things up. Instead of just outfits, Epic slowly started crafting a metaverse. At Pleasant Park, a stage appeared, which was sorta cool, until it turned from a POI to the scene of a live event. Marshmello himself put on a concert, pulling in hundreds of millions of views. At this point, Epic couldn't miss, no matter what. They were gaining fans, until they made their first mistake. They revealed an original mythic in Fortnite, the Infinity Blade. This was taken from their own franchise, except they forgot to balance it. It was so overpowered that people threatened to quit the game until it was fixed, and this thing even ruined a $1 million tournament. It was a total disaster. So Epic followed it up with something they knew we'd love, Avengers Part 2. This celebrated the release of Endgame, and instead of just Thanos, they took it even further, adding a ton of Marvel items. From Hawkeye's bow, maybe you liked Iron Man, try his repulsors. Even Stormbreaker could be used to fight Thanos. Marvel was a cash cow for Epic, so they decided to turn this from a limited time mode into permanent outfits. Because they didn't know if this would be a success yet, they didn't start with a super beloved character. Instead, Fortnite decided to drop Star-Lord and Black Widow. They're the very first Marvel skins, and Black Widow would end up becoming one of the rarest outfits of all time. Now, it still didn't get as much hype as the collab that redeemed Fortnite. You see, after they ripped off John Wick in 2018, they decided to make things right, getting permission to use Keanu Reeves' face and officially bring him to the game. They took this even further, bringing the Continental Hotel to the map where no one was allowed to use guns, along with this house where you could dig up loot just like the films. It wasn't the only thing we discovered on the map. Players were shocked to find Scoops Ahoy hiding in plain sight. This ice cream parlor from Stranger Things was casually sitting here without explanation, and a lot of fans freaked out. Then, out of nowhere, the shop updated, introducing Hopper and the Demogorgon to Fortnite. This activated the Upside Down, letting you step through the portals to get around the mall. It was pretty sweet. Epic would follow this up with a couple surprising updates, like teaming up with Nike to drop a Subway Surfers ripoff, or adding Major Lazer to the game along with a remix of the Fortnite theme song. Then the map was changed again, with a huge POI in the desert. It was Pandora from Borderlands, and when players walked inside, the whole art style of the game changed. It became cel-shaded, one of the only times this has ever happened, and they kept going all out for the first DC collab. Batman and Catwoman were here, replacing Tilted Towers with Gotham City. The place was full of Easter eggs like the alley where his parents died, and we got themed weapons like the explosive batarang and the grapnel gun. All in one year we had DC, Marvel, video games, Netflix shows, but there was one massive franchise left to conquer, Star Wars. So they did it with a bang, dropping a Stormtrooper skin before announcing a huge live event. With an exclusive clip from Episode 9, an interview with J.J. Abrams, and the reveal of lightsaber weapons, this was a big collab, followed up by Rey, Finn, and a Sith Trooper bundle appearing in the store. Now collabs are becoming a staple of Fortnite, but fans are starting to beg for something different, a more personal type of crossover. And that's what Fortnite did in 2020, their breakthrough year. To kickstart this community-based approach, they added Ninja after months of demand. Not only was he the first content creator to join the game, Epic decided to turn this into its own genre, the Icon series. Reserved for celebrities and creators, this was a game-changing decision that allowed anyone to get their own outfit. By now, we were in Chapter 2, and Fortnite had a ton in store for us. DC fans got to enjoy Harley Quinn, while Marvel fans were giving something mind-blowing. For the first time ever, a collab was the secret skin, with Deadpool causing a ton of controversy. Players were scared that crossovers would become more common than ever, and little did we know, we were right. Before the upcoming collab Reign of Terror, we get one of the most popular events ever. With the success of Marshmello the year before, Epic pulled off an even bigger concert, bringing Travis Scott to the stage. He collected millions of dollars for this, broke player count records, and became a best-selling skin. In fact, he has never come back, making him one of the rarest collabs. From loved to hated, Epic's worst mistake was about to happen, ironically located at Risky Reels. Here, players could look at the screen and watch full episodes of Punk'd. It's all thanks to a weird collab with Quibi. People were furious. It felt like a paid ad, and Fortnite sold out. So for the next couple of seasons, they began to make their collabs more low-key. Fans didn't even realize Epic had a partnership with Kingsman until they found the umbrella from the films, or a secret reference to Tenet hiding in the basement of Steamy Stacks. As time went on, we got more iconic superheroes such as Aquaman and his nemesis Black Manta. They even dropped a whole POI for this. We all thought we were gonna get Atlantis, only to receive Coral Castle instead. Around the same time, they also gave us new YouTubers like Loserfruit, whose backbling had a reference to all our stream snipers. The greatest Easter egg was on July 4th, when they decided to drop the ultimate Independence Day special, Captain America. But little did we know he was foreshadowing something huge. Weeks later, they followed this up with an entire Marvel season. It's the first time that a battle pass has been themed entirely around a collab, and this could only happen for something like Marvel. No other franchise is big enough to have a whole battle pass, 12 mythics, and an island full of POIs. We could shoot each other with unibeams, Venom strikes, Hulk smashes. It was ridiculous. It's all while we could walk around places like Stark Industries or Doom's Domain. Now, the metaverse was in full swing, and Epic was spending cash like it was nothing, buying Rocket League and immediately bringing it to Fortnite. Now, we could have Octane backblings and iconic lobby tracks, but sadly, we couldn't drive them. At least not yet. Speaking of useless cars, players would now land on the map only to find a mystery vehicle in a barn. If you looked under the blanket, it was a secret collab with Ghostbusters, revealing Ecto-1 collecting dust. While this Easter egg was disappointing, it still didn't annoy players as much as the Ghostbusters outfits. Instead of characters from the movies, we got a ton of default skins with costumes on. Let's just say fans weren't happy. Luckily, the Icon series was a bigger hit, adding Lachlan, who looked extremely accurate and was reactive. And so Fortnite ended 2020 with a bang, putting Poison Ivy, the Joker, and Midas into a bundle. It was pretty random, but players loved to see a DC pack during a Marvel season. It totally felt like Fortnite's vision had come to life. But little did we know, they were about to hit overdrive in 2021. Epic were getting hold of every crossover they could think of, and with sales going through the roof, they decided to take it to the next level by unveiling their true masterpiece in Season 5. These were so successful that Fortnite realized they could do another collab-themed season, except rather than jumping on one franchise, they went for all of them. Whether it was Kratos, Master Chief, even Terminator, there was something for everyone to enjoy. Honestly, they dropped so many collabs that showing them all like this is hurting my brain. The main addition, though, was one of the most anticipated outfits of all time. People had been begging for the Mandalorian to drop, and they delivered. Not only that, but they made him tier 1, allowing anyone to get him instantly. And as they progressed the battle pass, they'd unlock Beskar armor, and also, all the way at the end of the pass, here was Grogu. They totally knew what they were doing. While we were all hyped, Gref G was excited for a whole other reason. He was finally getting into the game, and was supposed to drop shortly after Ninja. But his backbling was a copyright issue, considering it was an obvious reference to Dragon Ball. The delays gave them time to figure it out, and at this point, they decided to add another creator alongside him, Laserbeam. While fans were going nuts over those two, it was time for another crazy battle pass, adding one of the most iconic video game characters, Lara Croft. She even had an edit style that let you play with retro graphics. Lara was joined by two members of the Teen Titans, Raven and Beast Boy. Pretty random, but DC enthusiasts loved their bonus styles. The crossovers kept coming with Neymar Jr. taking the spot of Secret Skin. He was super controversial. Players wondered why a soccer player was worthy of this position when he could have just been another item shop cosmetic. But their minds changed a little when they saw his outfit. The design was awesome, but he is still one of the most random secret skins we've had, especially when Aloy could have easily taken that spot. This was a Primal themed season, and when she was announced, the comments had strong opinions. Imagine if Aloy was the secret skin instead of Neymar Jr. That would have been sick and fit this season's theme. Fortnite was trying to cram a lot of outfits in here. While all of this was happening, they were doing a tie-in comic with DC, bringing 6 issues of storyline and 4 redesigns of Harley Quinn, Batman, and Catwoman. They also gave us Deathstroke, who looked fine on the surface until fans realized he was given a nose for some reason. Fortnite was trying to reach as many people as possible. It wasn't just superheroes and video games. It turns out Epic wanted NBA fans giving them money too. They dropped over 30 outfit variants, letting you pick your own jersey, along with basketball-themed emotes. They were unstoppable because they also went after book fans. This is still the only time they've added a book character into Fortnite, and they went with Kelsier from the Mistborn series. Because he's only been described by words in the novels, they had to literally design his character from scratch, which was pretty cool. The whole thing was the idea of Donald Mustard, who adores the Mistborn franchise. Now this is when we are thrown into an alien invasion, and who better to fight a moth than the genius mind of Rick Sanchez. No one was expecting this, with memes of Rick cranking 90s going insanely viral. He was later joined by Morty, who isn't exactly the tallest guy, so they gave him a mech suit. Someone who is naturally powerful is Superman, becoming the secret skin and doing it in the most hilarious way possible. As he notices the invasion, he steps away from his computer, revealing that he was playing Fortnite as Batman. Sadly, we couldn't actually fly around with the Superman mythic, but that still wasn't as disappointing as Googieman. Almost no one knew who this guy was. Most players assumed it was an original outfit until they went on Instagram and found this account. Most fans guessed that Googieman paid Fortnite to add him, and it must have been successful as they dropped Janky in the store 1 season later. The weird collabs kept coming as Harry Kane and Marco Royce appeared for the 2020 Euros, and Loki was shoved into a subscription service. An outfit from Free Guy was added, but it wasn't even the main character. But after years of waiting, we also got Thanos as an actual skin you could buy. Despite being the first collab ever in Fortnite, players couldn't wear him until 3 years later. Coolest part is, if you did the Snappy mode, you get a little Easter egg. The Icon series was ready to explode, starting with LeBron James. This was a big deal, making him one of the most recognizable celebs in the game, and they even threw in a second outfit for Space Jam. Later, we'd see Booga join this lineup. He is still the reigning solos winner of the World Cup, and years after his iconic victory, he brought that trophy back to Fortnite. Even his dog was converted. From champions to musicians, J Balvin was up next, dropping arguably one of the coolest icon designs ever made. And he wasn't even done, but we'll get into that later, because now players were busy racing around in a Ferrari. Yeah, they gave us a collab vehicle, letting fans speed around the island in style. Players absolutely loved it, and we also got 2 outfits to celebrate. But still not as game-changing as the next concert. At this point, it had been a while since Travis Scott blew our minds, and Epic had to follow it up with a major artist. Ariana Grande revealed the Rift Tour, a concert in the clouds which took the internet by storm. It wasn't long before the crossovers got weird again. Bloodsport from the new Suicide Squad film made an appearance, except he didn't have a real trailer. It was just Idris Elba telling us to buy the skin. For an ensemble movie, it just was a little strange to only get one dude in Fortnite. They followed him up with Wonder Woman, another DC skin with almost no promotion. Her set went pretty under the radar, especially when competing against Street Fighter. Ryu and Chun-Li were added during the huge crossover season, and now it was time for part 2, bringing Cammy and Guile to the game. Later, they'd also be joined by Sakura and Blanca, and naturally these were met with an overwhelming response, unlike the horrible timing of Mike Lowry. This is Will Smith's character from Bad Boys, and to promote the 3rd movie, they dropped him out of nowhere. Unfortunately for Epic, the Oscars was a few months away, and with the Will Smith incident, players wondered if Mike Lowry would ever return. To this day, he's never come back. Controversy would keep coming with the next Marvel skins. Shang-Chi and Gamora joined the item shop, and their comic-inspired designs just didn't impress players, especially when the Shang-Chi film just dropped only for players to get this instead. Luckily, there was an outfit that remained faithful to the movies. Despite Venom first dropping in the Marvel season, they released a new version, Eddie Brock. This featured Tom Hardy's face, an official crossover with Sony's Spider-Man universe. They even brought Carnage to the bundle, but sadly, they couldn't get Woody Harrelson's likeness. The symbiotes are still terrifying and braced us perfectly for the upcoming Halloween event, Fortnitemares 2021. They went all out this time, revealing a ton of spooky crossovers like Frankenstein's monster, Chris and Jill from Resident Evil, and Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead. It was nuts, and they got creative with it by dropping a collab with an artist named Cause. His iconic skeleton character is famous around the world, even if Fortnite players didn't really care about it. That's when they got more confused when Cause returned later on, turning Peely into a skeleton. So from art to fashion, Fortnite was such a big game, it was starting to get the attention of the world's luxury brands. Balenciaga Balenciaga designed an exclusive set of outfits that matched real-life clothes with Epic's original characters. And they also dropped actual merch that cost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Moncler and Ralph Lauren would later hop on this trend, with Fortnite making Ralph Lauren redesign their logo for the first time in 50 years, turning a horse into a llama. At least they didn't turn it into a sandworm, because when Dune Part 1 dropped, Fortnite did not miss the opportunity to bring two massive Hollywood stars to the game. Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet were now in Fortnite, playing Paul and Shawnee from the films. A lesser-known celebrity would follow them. El Chapulín Colorado was unknown to English speakers, but in Latin America and Spain, he is super popular. He had a comedy show which parodied superheroes, so when he came to Fortnite, they let us dress as him, choosing from a ton of options, including the Red Grasshopper himself. It wasn't just TV shows, they also brought a board game to Fortnite. On one hand, it is the most famous board game of all time, but there was a major problem. It wasn't even playable. This crossover was literally just a backbling, while Fortnite Monopoly became a real-life set you could buy, not an LTM. Luckily, they followed this up with beloved characters like Nick Fury, Jean Grey, and Jinx from Arcane. This one was a big deal, combining League of Legends and Fortnite in an amazing partnership. It also marked the first time a Netflix show was added in years, and milestones would keep coming with the very first anime collab. This had been a long time coming, with fans begging Epic to bring a classic to the game. The only question, who would it be? Let's just say players are very happy to log in and find Naruto in the item shop. This quickly became one of the most popular crossovers ever, with fans choosing their favorite characters like Sasuke, Kakashi, and Sakura. As we approach Chapter 3, Epic dropped another tie-in comic, this time revealing more storyline and introducing Batman Who Laughs. This guy creeped a lot of players out, but wasn't as controversial as the return of Air Jordan. They were back for round 2, only for both of these outfits to be immediately criticized. One was a reskin of Ruby, and the other a lazy Nike version of Marius. Chapter 3 had much better crossovers in store, starting with one of the most anticipated collabs in history. Marvel's #1 character, Spider-Man, was here, and we basically had every superhero except him this whole time. He swung into the Battle Pass as the most talked about skin, even bringing a Daily Bugle POI and web-slinging mythic to the game. This was such a loved item that Fortnite turned it into a grapple glove to avoid copyright and keep it around. Was it the end of Spidey's time? Things got even crazier when Tom Holland appeared, giving fans his MCU Peter Parker for Christmas. Zendaya joined him with an MJ outfit that made her one of the only actors to get 2 characters in game. Sadly, we didn't get the MCU versions of Hawkeye. Clint Barton and Kate Bishop were here, with fans laughing at Clint's simple design. It was accurate to the show, but without Jeremy Renner's face, it just looked goofy. And they really embraced the comic book designs with Green Goblin. Despite adding Peter and MJ from No Way Home, they decided to make the Goblin totally generic, very different from the movie. Some call it a fumble, but they made up for it with Rogue and Gambit from X-Men. The Gaming Legends was about to see a new bundle too. This time they were collabing with themselves. You see, before Fortnite existed, Epic was known for Unreal Engine and, of course, the Gears of War franchise. They don't work on it anymore, but that didn't stop them from bringing Marcus and Kate to our lockers. At least it included skins, unlike a collab with one of the biggest movie franchises of all time. You'd think, when The Matrix was announced, we would get to play as Neo, Morpheus, maybe Trinity. Instead, all we got were emotes, a rap, and a glider. Disappointments kept coming, with Epic finally releasing everyone's favorite bounty hunter, Boba Fett. This was begged for the longest time, only for his outfit to be from the Disney Plus show, not the iconic Boba Fett we've had for over 40 years. But hey, at least we got a character. When Cobra Kai joined the season, fans didn't get anyone from the show. Instead, just a bunch of default skins wearing karate uniforms. Regardless, it was an absolutely insane year for collabs. Fortnite was just showing off at this point, and there was no slowing down. As we moved into 2022, Fortnite was officially turning 5 years old. And if you told someone at Chapter 1 that we'd have Vi from League of Legends, a Samurai Marshmallow, and Naomi Osaka, they would have called you crazy. But she wasn't the only celebrity to surprise us, as Silk Sonic dropped to promote their very first album. Yep, Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak in Fortnite, 2 music legends that no one was expecting. Then it came to another legend, Nathan Drake from Uncharted. At the time, the movie adaptation was about to drop, and people were skeptical about Tom Holland getting the job. out. So, when we realized it would be the film version of Fortnite, fans weren't happy, only for the original Nathan Drake to be an edit style. Now everyone got to enjoy it, along with Chloe Frazier, who also had a Lost Legacy design. The huge franchises kept coming with Doctor Who, but when we heard this was in the works, no one could have prepared us for how disappointing it would be. Instead of outfits, backblings, even a glider, we got a spray. I'm not kidding, they literally just handed us a TARDIS sticker and a creative map. The show has recast Doctor Who twice since this happened, and we still don't have an actual crossover. But another famous Doctor is Stephen Strange. Not an alien, but he is an iconic Marvel superhero, and when Chapter 3 Season 2 dropped, people were surprised as the Battle Pass skins walked through the portal. It was the official Tier 100, not the secret skin. That spot was reserved for the Prowler. Miles' uncle was in the game, so we had Prowler, Peter Parker, and now MJ, but people were begging for Miles to release, especially with the upcoming Spider-Verse movie. The other Marvel skins kept coming: Scarlet Witch, who was inspired by the MCU, but wasn't Elizabeth Olsen, along with Moon Knight, who was super accurate to the Disney show. Easily one of the most detailed outfits we've seen. And even though we couldn't play as Oscar Isaac, it still had an awesome edit style. We're at the point where sometimes people don't even know an item is a collab, like the Battle Pass emote Segway Tour. First glance, it just lets you ride around on a Segway, until Fortnite tagged the company on social media, leading us to realize this was an official crossover. At least we know Assassin's Creed is a franchise, and its most iconic character, Ezio. Fans were shocked to see him appear in Fortnite, along with the Hidden Blade pickaxe, all we could ask for. He was joined by Ivor from AC Valhalla later in the season, and we had all the time in the world to celebrate because Coachella was here. It gave us 2 outfits, 30 artists on Icon Radio, and then a second wave of skins. Now they didn't perform at Coachella, but Wu-Tang Clan rightfully got in Fortnite anyway. Not only could we do the Wu-Tang hands as an emote, but we also got to rep their merch. The Icon series was finally getting some huge upgrades, as Chica got her own Fortnite skin. Wasn't the only YouTuber to join, with Ali A crashing into the shop on a dinosaur, or should I say,
there's a Diplodocus!
Then Chloe Kim rounded out the Icon series just as winter came to an end, bringing 4 edit styles and an awesome Ice Dragon glider. It's pretty cool. About as exciting as RoboCop, a classic 80s film, but what about an 80s game, as they introduced Pac-Man. We could sit and play with an emote, or if you want to get super retro, Galaxian was another option. Speaking of spaceships, as we approached the end of Season 2, it was time for a live event, and fans were hyped to see a cameo from Star Wars' most famous rivalry. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader were teased in the 0 point, as Obi-Wan got his own cup, and Darth Vader became the Tier 100 skin of the new season. Yeah, if you wanted one of the most iconic villains in movie history, you needed to buy the Battle Pass and complete it. In return, you get the outfit, shuttle glider, Imperial Marching mode, but not his lightsaber. Instead, his pickaxe was a random stick. Now, it was probably Disney's fault instead of Fortnite, but at least we got him as a boss on the map. Here, you could eliminate him for a mythic lightsaber weapon, and this had an exclusive throwing ability, and when you took him out, you got a unique death animation, the first time we had ever seen this. Lucasfilm took up a slot in the Battle Pass with another franchise of theirs, Indiana Jones. He was the secret outfit, and as a result, Fortnite went all out, giving Indy his own POI. You had to break into the temple, steal the artifact, and a boulder would chase you, just like the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Things got really controversial around this time, as Fortnite dropped an LTM in 2021 called Imposters. It was a blatant ripoff of Among Us, which was the most popular game of the year, and the devs were not happy. So they called them out, and Epic panicked, scrambling to do an official collab instead. It took almost a whole year, but the crossover finally dropped in Chapter 3, letting us wear an Among Us crewmate on our backs. When we got down though, it even had a secret reference. At this point, fans were overwhelmed with the amount of collabs. We got handed Naruto Part 2, bringing 4 extra characters including Itachi and Hinata. Not to mention, Marvel brought out a Thor Love and Thunder pack inspired by the MCU, but sadly, we didn't get Chris Hemsworth or Natalie Portman. But hey, they were pretty damn close. DC joined them with Starfire from Teen Titans and Dreamer from Supergirl. But then collabs started to enter real life as they dropped an exclusive Magic the Gathering set full of POIs and items. This secret layer drop had cards like Kevin the Cube, Polar Peak, even the Battle Bus. They also kept bringing real people into the game. John Cena shocked everyone by randomly appearing in the item shop. For months he had been teasing this, and we thought it would be his Peacemaker outfit, but delays kept happening, and eventually we realized why. His WWE persona was about to take the spotlight. Not the only athlete to say hi. Over the years we gotten sports legends like LeBron James, Neymar Jr., Naomi Osaka, and now it's time for a quarterback to join the club. Patrick Mahomes is here. Brought a gladiator themed theme set to the game, along with a hot sauce back bling, and fans loved it. I hate to say it, Patrick, but you didn't break the internet as much as Fortnite's next anime collab. It was time to play as Goku in Fortnite, with Dragon Ball making its way onto the island. This set was huge, giving players Vegeta, Beerus, Bulma, and of course Goku. They had exclusive mythics that took over the meta, like the Kamehameha, POIs like the Kame House, and a creative map that let you watch real episodes of Dragon Ball Super. Now you have to keep in mind, this is all happening in the same season with Darth Vader, Indiana Jones. It was crazy. But they had one more trick up their sleeve, a tie-in with Destiny 2. In Fortnite, we can now play as Commander Zavala, Ikora Rey, or an Exo Stranger, while in Destiny they had cosmetics inspired by Black Knight, Omega, and Drift. We dove into Season 4 with a bang, as players found Spider-Gwen in the Battle Pass looking identical to her design from Into the Spider-Verse. It was so accurate that her emote was even 24 frames per second to match the films. Would it be a new season without an Icon Series edition? And this time around, Cypher PK joined. This was a long time coming. Fortnite already gave Cypher his own Easter egg in the form of a secret book. Pair that with his locker bundle, and fans were convinced it would happen. His outfit looked just like him, and you'd even get an emote letting you strut around. It also wouldn't be tradition if we didn't get a new Marvel character. This time around, Epic opted for X-23, but in the background, they were cooking up something way cooler. So at this point, they'd owned Rocket League for a while, and the collabs weren't really impressive. So they decided to step things up, dropping the Octane as a vehicle we could actually drive. It was insane, letting fans do tricks, boost around, and basically play Rocket League in Battle Royale. Things were going well, maybe too well, and that's when the problem started to emerge. If you add this many crossovers to Fortnite, players will start to get burned out. Now we're entering the Halloween season. Instead of the original outfits we've grown to love over the years, this time around we got Rick and Morty. It was a random one, giving us Summer and Mr. Meeseeks or Fortnite mares instead of Ghostface or Freddy Krueger. At least we got Evil Dead with Ash Williams arriving on the island, along with the Nobi cabin packed with hidden references. And if Fortnite already got The Rock as the foundation, they'd have no problem getting him as Black Adam. Right for the release of the film, they dropped a trailer for his set with multiple styles and a giant throne. Even Dwayne talked about it on the red carpet.
Holy shit. Look at that.
Well,
let me see the cloak.
wait, is this the first time you've seen it?
Like this, yeah.
Okay. Show me the cloak.
I've been seeing it on my phone.
Pretty crazy, right?
Wow.
Then, it was the moment Star Wars fans have been waiting for since day one. Original trilogy characters arrived, giving us Luke, Leia, and Han. Even R2-D2 made an appearance. It was all for Fortnite Skywalker Week, a giant themed event with lightsabers, the return of Vader, and falling speeders. The weirdest collab might just be Goat Simulator. To celebrate the launch of the second game, Epic not only got it on their store, but made the goat into a humanoid just to arrive in Fortnite. The gaming legends continued into Chapter 4 with The Witcher. Geralt of Rivia marked his spot in the Battle Pass, and you could get his emote, sword, and Roach as a glider. Epic wasn't stopping there, because we finally got Doomslayer. He was available in the pass, but some fans were let down to see he never got a mythic, and if he missed them, he is gone. Thankfully, the same can't be said for Isaac Clarke, who dropped in a Dead Space pack out of nowhere. There were so many crossovers teased Fracture that we even got to see Hulk on a bike. Yeah, one of the most popular Marvel characters had finally arrived, and he even had an original recruit style. He didn't come alone though, with Sam Wilson flying in as the MCU's new Captain America, along with Brightstar, an amazing mashup. Even Marvel couldn't compete with the hype for Mr. Beast himself. He got a 6000 variant and a Lamborghini gift as a glider, giving everyone the chance to win $1 million by placing first in his minigames. It wasn't the only new addition either, with Flake's Power joining the Icon series later as the 11th creator. It was immediately followed by the big crossover of the season, My Hero Academia. It was their first appearance, giving us Deku, All Might, and a brand new mythic. Deku's smash was so OP that half the time it broke the game. We got another addition to the Icon series with Giannis, a top basketball player who got 2 skins inspired by his Greek and Nigerian heritage. Then it was time for the latest concert. We hadn't seen one since Ariana's Rift Tour, but the silence was broken with the announcement of the Kid Laroi, with a creative concert and 2 sets of crazy cosmetics. Dragon Ball fans were even more surprised when Wave 2 appeared. Out of nowhere, Fortnite dropped a teaser for Gohan and Piccolo, arriving with the return of the 2 mythics. And just a few months later, Epic dropped a 3rd skin, Goku Black. One of the more forgotten collabs was Creed. It released right before the end of Season 1, but a lot of people were disappointed his pickaxe wasn't boxing gloves, just a metal axe. Now, it wasn't until Season 2 that fans of one anime would finally get what they've been waiting for, Attack on Titan. Eren took the spotlight in the Battle Pass, giving us Mythic ODM gear and Thunder Spears, which some players found better than Spidey's web shooters. It wasn't long before we got Mika's son Levi in the shop, and Anvil Square changed into an homage to Shiganshina with the Jaeger basement. It was pretty awesome. Chris and Jill's Resident Evil collab from Chapter 2 is doubled, giving us Claire and Leon from the franchise, something fans have been asking for since the first batch. Star Wars also returned to celebrate May the 4th, this time giving us the prequels. We got Padme and Anakin, along with an event pass full of clone troopers and Darth Maul. Was it just skins? We got force powers for the first time, meaning we could throw, push, and pull opponents. It is crazy how Epic fits huge collabs into just one season, but they weren't done yet, thanks to the release of the new Spider-Verse movie. It was a huge hit, and they didn't miss out on giving us Miles, 2099, and the return of the web shooters. After months of theories, we finally got Transformers in game with Optimus Prime in the Wilds Pass. A giant Cybertron cannon mythic was added alongside Primal in the shop, but what didn't make sense was the pack featuring Bumblebee, Megatron, and even the Battle Bus, which didn't release until 4 months later. From Autobots to Cyberdyne Systems, we got a second collab with the Terminator, giving us Arnold himself as T-800, a Skynet llama, and even an emote of the iconic truck chase. But one thing he didn't have was Nikes. A third collab with the brand arrived, this time giving us completely original skins, Maxed Out Max and Eri, along with an entire experience in UEFN. We also got a follow-up to The Witcher. Despite being 2 seasons late, Epic finally gave us Ciri and Yennefer to go alongside Geralt in the game. Fortnite went even further in the past with their next collab, Elder Scrolls. From an ancient era to the 31st century, Fortnite jumped straight into Futurama. Nobody expected a surprise trailer of the Planet Express ship crashing into Megacity's billboard, just like the show. We got Fry, Leela, Bender, along with some hilarious references, but most importantly, Bender's shiny metal ray gun. It was followed up by another collab with cell shading. We finally got the arrival of Jujutsu Kaisen. Fans can unlock Yuji in the pass, purchase others, and use 2 new mythics, the Hollow Purple and Straw Doll technique. For months, there were rumors of a female WWE collaboration after a codename based on John Cena was found. Fans started theorizing who it could be until it was finally teased by Becky and Bianca themselves. They arrived just a couple days later with a bunch of styles. Season 4 launched right around the time people were hoping for an Ahsoka collab with a new show, and she actually arrived in the pass. At least people expected her, unlike Cabby LeMay, who was the first TikTok star to be added to the game, which was great, especially with some cool references in his set, but nobody wanted him in the Battle Pass. It was shortly followed by the next Icon series, J Balvin's second skin. And that same trend was continued with My Hero Academia. We got 3 new skins, the return of Deku Smash, along with the brand new Ice Wall mythic, taking the whole collab to the next level. The burnout was real, but we call this next era the Redemption. It was time for the best Fortnite mares we'd ever seen. They dropped Jack Skellington, Alan Wake, and most importantly, Michael Myers, characters we never thought we'd see. He even had the iconic Halloween theme. But just because Halloween was over didn't mean the spooky collab stopped, with Epic finally bringing back Stranger Things. Not the only unexpected crossover to drop during OG, because we also got Invincible. It's an insanely popular show, and fans were amazed when we got Omni-Man and more all in one go. We even got some collabs from real life. Lewis Hamilton officially arrived, but perhaps the biggest addition to the Icon series was none other than Slim Shady. Fortnite finally got him after teasing him on an exclusive radio station a year before, with his whole set full of references. But the best part, a live concert with him to introduce the brand new music mode, and it looked incredible. But he wasn't the only collab featured in the Big Bang. We were also introduced to Lego. The world's biggest toy franchise made its way into Fortnite, and it wasn't just a cosmetic. It was a fully fledged AAA survival game. Every skin got turned into minifigures, along with a brand new world, creatures, and items. Didn't stop there, releasing an entire arcade racer. You see, after Epic bought Psyonix, they did over 5 collabs with them until finally they made Rocket Racing. It's just like the other online racing games, but with flying obstacles and even flipping onto walls. The final mode to launch was Festival, bringing us not only an entirely new rhythm game, but a new artist every season. That kicked off with The Weeknd, featuring his iconic red suit in the past and a combat edition in the shop. Fortnite went all out with the season's collab event featuring none other than Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Fans of the show were overwhelmed with how much content was added, giving us the 4 turtles and April before teasing us with a whole second part. That's right, Shredder and Master Splinter joined them along with the mini pass, 4 mythics, and even drift boards. The turtles still won't beat Fortnite's most iconic collab of all time. From being accidentally teased in the files in Chapter 2 to appearing on Epic's desktop monitor, after 4 years, we finally got Peter Griffin. He was the highlight of Chapter 5's pass, giving us Buff Peter, a set full of references, and even the giant chicken later in the season. Something we'll never forget is his boss, who literally danced on you and had a hilarious death animation. Not the only crossover in the past for Chapter 5. After weeks of waiting, players could finally unlock Solid Snake. His quests weren't standard though, you had to use the new mythics like the EMP Camo and Cardboard Box, both designed directly from the game. For anyone who missed it, well, Raiden could be found in the shop. Just like the first 2 Dragon Ball collabs, which were a huge success. Epic knew players loved these, so they couldn't resist bringing them back a 3rd time, adding Frieza and Cell. We also had our second arrival in Fortnite Festival, Lady Gaga. She headlined the pass with her enigmatic Gaga outfit, and players could also pick up her Chromatica style. We also got our first instrument collab with Fender, bringing their guitar and bass from real life. Now it was time for the first collab of Season 2, Nike. The map turned out to be Grind Rail Simulator, but hey, at least the skins made up for it. For anyone that wasn't a fan, you could save your V-Bucks for the first Marvel collab in nearly a year. When Drax was revealed, people couldn't wait to get their hands on him, especially alongside Mantis, Groot, and some hilarious emotes. Hey, at least we got a lot Korra for free. It was officially the start of Fortnite's Avatar crossover, with her debuting as the secret skin. We could complete quests to unlock her, and even use mythic waterbending powers, all while Aang slowly awakened in his iceberg. He unleashed the second half of the collab with more mythics, skins, and a whole mini elements pass, including Appa. Gotta love Appa. It wasn't long until we got our 3rd wave of Coachella. Not only did we get 2 brand new astronaut-themed skins, but they also gave us icon emotes from Doja Cat and Sabrina Carpenter, festival instruments, and a load of jam tracks from artists performing there. We even got J Balvin back. But fans were more blown away by the next festival artist, someone who had been in the works for years. Billie Eilish took the stage, bringing tons of songs and multiple outfits with her. Someone who was more fitting to the Greek season was Nike. You're thinking of sneakers, well, I'm talking about the Greek goddess. She was the inspiration for their name, and Fortnite decided to bring both of them at the same time. Over in Norse mythology, we have Thor Ragnarok. And while this film was over half a decade old, Fortnite only just decided to add it. They brought Hela to the shop, bundled alongside a new version of Hulk, and you love to see it. Another classic crossover to return was NBA. This time, Epic went for cel-shaded characters, which got a mixed response from fans, but the set was huge, giving us 10 outfits and a fish stick basketball. Then it was time for 2024's annual Star Wars Day, and this time Fortnite went bigger than ever. Chewbacca, Lando, even Yoda. Fans were thrilled to see this, and Epic kept treating us with a C-3PO back bling and even a new Luke outfit. LEGO Fortnite created an entire battle pass and gave us lightsabers and blasters. Festival allowed us to play as the Cantina Band, while Rocket Racing dropped a Beskar car, with players laughing at how ridiculous a Mando mobile is. If you remember the first ever crew pack skin, it was Loki. Yet Fortnite decided they could do it even better. So to celebrate the new season, they dropped Loki, God of Stories, and fans were just as excited over the back bling. Introducing Miss Minutes, one of the most loved characters on the show. Not the only popular series, when Fallout dropped, everyone was begging Fortnite for a collab, and Season 3 delivered us Power Armor in the Battle Pass. We even got Nuka-Cola and the Tri-Beam Rifle. Fans of Fallout got true justice with this one. The same goes for X-Men. We finally got Magneto in Fortnite as the secret skin for Rect, with his own mythic ability and an original design for the season. It was pretty cool, but left a lot of players disappointed, until Fortnite released Page 2, dropping his comic variant. Wouldn't be complete without him breaking Weapon X out of the lab. Ariana Grande even made an appearance with a 3rd wave of cosmetics, featuring a brand new Rosie Rift skin, along with a bunch of jam tracks. One crossover that left people speechless was an indie game that took the world by storm. Out of nowhere, Fortnite dropped Lethal Company, featuring the employee, stop sign, and iconic dance. After a year's break in the Icon series, we finally got another content creator in Fortnite. Nick830 debuted with his own skin, emote, and more, even becoming the first one to get his own car and jam track. Fortnite Festival went even even further with its 4th season featuring Metallica. The band took over the festival pass, bringing new skins for each member, and even content in BR, from a mythic guitar, Metallica Loot Island, and even a rocket racing track, not to mention the insane concert. Fortnite then officially collaborated with Adidas alongside Rocket League to bring free decals for each country in the World Cup, alongside some Adidas wheels in the shop. There were some real cars appearing too, with a 3rd vehicle collab arriving, the Nissan Performance Z, which nobody expected. At the same time, you could also pick up the Nissan Fairlady from the Rocket Pass. This was quickly followed up by the mid-season collab, Pirates of the Caribbean. Ghost Stories took over the island, with Shipwreck Shallows appearing, a bunch of skins in the shop, and even a mini pass starring Jack Sparrow himself. But a lot of fans were even more excited to get their hands on Deadpool. With the brand new movie, Fortnite dropped a bundle of him and Wolverine in pen and ink versions. Very cool. Then came the start of Fortnite's most controversial collab, the Cybertruck. It was given away for free, but then found out it was pay to win by having the only external seats on an SUV. Thankfully, a more wholesome crossover dropped in next, literally. Fall Guys have been rifted into Fortnite, giving us an entire obstacle course to complete for loot, all while playing as a bean. Alan Walker officially arrived after, but not in the way you'd expect. Turns out almost any collab that arrives in Rocket League now ports to Fortnite too. So instead of getting a skin or even an emote, we got Walker wheels. One BR collab we did get was the 4th wave of Dragon Ball. Android 17 and 18 arrived alongside Future Trunks, giving fans yet another set to add to their collection. Perhaps Epic's biggest collab yet was with Disney. Not only are they working on a giant experience, but they're also delivering small collabs on the way. At D23, they made an entire map and gave out a free Peely backbling for attending. Not only that, but they revealed a bunch of Disney collabs for the future, including Moff Gideon. Marvel also dropped an announcement with something much bigger. The shop reset revealed the brand new X-Men bundle featuring Jubilee, Colossus, and the one everyone had been asking for, Cyclops. But that wasn't all. Kevin Feige himself was on stage to announce Fortnite's next season, Absolute Doom. It was the trailer reveal and a season with 4 POIs, new mythic powers, and a fully Marvel Battle Pass. At the same time, Festival entered its 5th season. This time the headline act was Karol G, which is a popular Colombian artist. Pretty cool to see Fortnite expanding into other regions, and fans of her loved it. Epic kept pushing the collabs with a new company arriving to the game, none other than BMW. That's right, the M240 dropped in the shop, with the 1 Series arriving shortly after from the Rocket Pass. And that's when the Iron Spider dropped. Fans loved the comic design from the animated series, along with an entire set of spider claws. We also got another Fortnite mashup in the form of Meowtooth, mixing Meowscles and Sabretooth to create a brand new character. Black Cat also made an appearance with a classic comic book design which fans loved. And as the season continued, we got more Marvel crossovers every week. That started with a brand new Iron Man. Finally, players who missed out on the original outfit were able to pick up the Mark 45 from Age of Ultron. The only issue was, he didn't come with a glider. Marvel kept on coming with the Ghost Rider mashup, which received mixed reviews before moving on to Rubius. He's a brand new addition to the creator series, being one of the most popular Spanish YouTubers, so it was only a matter of time until he made his way into Fortnite, Wilson included. Nothing could prepare players for the first ever Pixar collab. Epic dropped the one and only Incredibles, featuring Mr. Incredible, Elastigirl, and Frozone. Set looked insane, and players almost believed Epic took their model straight from the movies. That accuracy had to be lost a little to bring Shaquille O'Neal to Fortnite, along with his iconic shimmy and DJ meme. Even the Fast and Furious made their debut with a Nissan Skyline. That's all before one of the most gruesome collabs for Halloween, Saw. To get him in the game, they made Billy the Puppet into a human, and even a boss. Fortnitemares 2024 also came packed with more iconic film characters, like the Nightmare Before Christmas Wave 2, Edward Scissorhands, and Leatherface. They even brought in Marvel's latest character, Mephisto, summoned by Doom himself. But nothing could prepare us for the craziest Marvel character, a car. That's right, Fortnite brought McLaren to the game, but couldn't resist throwing Iron Man, War Machine, and even Doom in there. Now instead, all the attention went to the most anticipated emote of the year, Espresso. The issue was, Epic sped it up and ruined the song. The community hated it so much that Epic had no choice but to vault it, fix the music, and then bring Sabrina back. If your wallet wasn't already drained enough, Disney stepped in, bringing us Cruella, Maleficent, and Captain Hook, the first Disney animation characters to arrive in Fortnite. Not the first spider though, after we got our 8th web-slinging hero, this time Spider-Woman. Cosmetics also swung their way over from Rocket League, giving us a Spider-Man car, wheels, even a web boost. Of course, Epic couldn't pass up on Venom 3 either, giving us Agony, She-Venom, and the long-awaited return of Eddie Brock. That was right before the final Marvel skin of the season, Fishpool, who received some mixed reviews. As Chapter 5 came to an end, our final collab was Rave Mellow, preparing us for a live event and an entire season around music. Snoop and Ice Spice hit the stage at Times Square as the Rift Beacon blasted us there within the game. It wasn't the best, but at least gave us a reason to move into Fortnite Remix. Now, we had the Dog Pound, the Drum Gun belonged to Snoop, and lowriders were everywhere. Chapter 2 is back with its own twist, rapper collabs. As the weeks moved on, Eminem took over the Grotto with an overpowered Rap God minigun. Ice Spice redesigned the Shark, all before the long-awaited arrival of Juice WRLD and Fortnite, a fantastic tribute. The whole season comes to an end with Remix the finale, as we see all of these rappers perform with the island as their stage. Then, it's Chapter 6, and we'll probably be making a part 2 to this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. It's Tommy, and keep it here on Top 5 Gaming.